Welcome to the J Money Podcast. Welcome to the J Money Podcast. Welcome to the J Money Podcast. We like to talk about all sorts of things. What's up?
Hello, Jameson.
We are here with
My name
the intergalactic princess. Sorry to cut you off.
that's
A
okay.
man's already cutting off. The intergalactic princess. Abby shine starlight million universal things.
That
She
was a
also
great
likes
intro.
to sing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure
Yeah,
to be
welcome.
on the podcast.
Welcome.
So grateful for this day because, quite frankly, there's a lot going on in the world and it's hard to not be sensitive and keep your empathy valve open, as you say earlier.
Yeah. That's why I think it's important to cry, talking about emotions, human emotions for a little bit. I think it's very important to cry, Abby, because it's like an exhaust pipe on a car. You have to release your experience. And if you don't cry, you're putting a banana in the tailpipe and you're creating an emotional bomb.
Totally.
How do you feel about that?
I think that there's a lot of ways that energy can manifest itself in our bodies because ultimately our anger is not necessarily just our anger. I just came back from Bhakti Fest and there was a lot of people that were like purging their idea of their human self and like leaning on community.
Yeah.
And even though there's a lot that goes on in a lot of spiritual worlds and communities, I feel like that takes advantage of mainly women. I've just noticed that a lot.
Yeah, how's
that? I noticed that a lot of times, and it can be disheartening because you know that the sensitivity that like women have in nature is our connection to the spirit world. And when we lose touch with the spirit world, which is something that all this advancement of technology strips us from, we lose connection with like our interconnectedness and we isolate ourselves.
See, this is why I say you are the spiritual leader of your generation, Abby.
You know, I have made a lot of choices and sacrifices to listen to how life responds. And some people call that karma, but I actually just think that it's strong empathy, like acting with a level of morality that school doesn't teach you.
School doesn't teach you morality, yeah.
It teaches you how to get in line and follow directions.
Yes.
It doesn't teach you how to
Yes.
liberate yourself. And you know,
Yeah.
I work in a preschool, so I get to witness like these children that are in their process of coming into the world because they don't really know who they are. We're telling them who they are. We're
Yeah.
giving them a basis
Projecting identities.
of idea of what it means to like be a person.
Yeah.
Instead of like giving them the room to create with their own imagination of what it means to be a person and like finding ways of working together. We're never going to be able to like stop arguments from happening. Is something that I really learned from children is like there's always going to be spit spat, but it's about how you move through it and deal with it.
It's about
and
conflict
learn.
resolution.
Yeah, and a lot of the world doesn't want to do that. A lot of the world is on the precipice of what we all feel, which is World War III, and we're not addressing that because we're not addressing our massive hatred for one another to the core of like our humanness. There's so many people that hate each other's people just because of God. What's supposed to bring you to like peace and unity, but it doesn't. It just separates everybody, and it's really frustrating to watch like thousands and thousands of years of tradition kill millions of people unnecessarily.
Yeah, I mean, so you can go deep.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the fruit. What do they say about the bearing of the fruit?
What pay attention to the fruits things bear.
Pay attention to the fruits things bear. And so many things aren't working right now, so because this is the only thing that is real, actually. It's free. You can grow it anywhere, but we put all this cement so we can't eat for free.
Yeah.
Well, we could, but it would take like years and years to grow trees.
Yeah, we've become like some weird like amalgamation of like we
It's an onion.
we, as Yuval Harari says in Sapiens, and his great book Sapiens, he's like, all of these things are just ideas. Like there's an idea of a company, but a company is not real. A tree is real.
Totally. A tree is real.
Yeah.
I love that. I love Homo sapiens. I read that when I was like 18 and living in Europe. And that definitely was one of the birthings of when I began to grow to understand autonomy. And when I really started asking like the universe questions, because I moved far away from my original home values, and it changed my perspective to want more from life. And then I made more choices to condition myself in belief in miracles instead of like the value of shiny things.
So what was your journey as a kid? Was your identity like stripped, and then you realized what they were doing, and then you kind of like got yourself back, or were you like always holding on to like your true self throughout it all, and like and you just know how powerful it is to like you preach the message of like true freedom and self?
Honestly, I think that I've slowly come into more of who I am, and I still am growing every day, but I remember always being pretty chill. Like my mom always tells me, because I asked her, I work in this preschool, all these kids are fighting. I'm like, Mom, did I ever like, what did I do that was like, before I was even conscious, really?
Yeah.
Not like I never did any wrong.
Maybe chill back a little and look kind of at the horizon.
I'm only holding this like this because of the microphone, and I don't know how good the sound is gonna be because we have the microphone in my hair. So I'm just like trying to do my best here.
We put the microphone in your hair. Well, we were trying to find a good place to put the mic, and like that awesome, Pearl situation in the intergalactic, Federation.
Galactic Federation.
Like we couldn't put it on that because it was like it might
put it on the Intergalactic Federation.
And then lower was like too low, so we were like, oh, your hair is like what we could work with.
Yeah.
And isn't that like just an apropos philosophical thing where like such a like a earth, like a amazing earth, person has this organic hair that the digital can attach to, and isn't that what's happening to us right now, kind of?
Oh yeah, it is.
Right.
Sort of.
The digital like wants on, like our orga, like the digi wants on the orga, and it's like we think we're creating it and putting it on ourselves, but like in fast like time lapse, it almost looks like the digital's coming out of nowhere and like attaching itself to us.
I can hear what you're saying.
Oh, where are you?
And it is not my truth.
Okay.
I feel like digital is different than future technology. Like when we talk about flying vehicles and things like that.
Yeah.
They aren't going to look like these combustion engines. These are terrible looking cars.
Yeah, you think cars are terrible looking?
And like there's so many things that have devolutionized ourselves, much like Yuval talks about.
You can.
But you can. And so many people are living in a timeline that is, I would say, almost a phantom matrix. Now, that might be above some people's pay grade. But
ouch.
I think that TikTok is an excellent education form. I think that TikTok is an excellent education platform because it gives us our generation a voice. Because there's censorship.
Oh, and TikTok is the television of now.
Yeah.
It's the new television. I tell the older generation that all the time. I'm like, TikTok is television for kids.
Yeah.
You don't understand. It's all there.
Yeah.
The reason it's great, it's because it's all there and it's all in micro clips that are speaking to our intelligence. Like people get upset, oh, it's making your attention span smaller. No, it's actually just making me smarter and I understand things faster.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean, you're definitely very multidimensional, I would say. You got money in your nose. You're blowing money like a money dragon. See, look at the money dragon. Money dragon!
Money dragon!
We're losing light.
So what's your message to people before we're losing all the light?
This was a great conversation. I think that the people of the world need to find a way to Find the real things. Seek real things, real people, and pray for ourselves, all of ourselves. We need many miracles, many people to believe in a miracle, not many people to be seduced into fear. Because that belief is to infinity and beyond, the fastest.
To infinity and beyond. At the same time for a good ending. To infinity and beyond. Yeah, Abs. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Welcome to the J Money Podcast. Welcome to the J Money Podcast. Welcome to the J Money Podcast. We like to talk about all sorts of